The Raspberry Pi can run many different operating systems, which is just one thing that makes it such an interesting and useful tool. Now, if you have a giant micro SD card, it actually isn't that useful normally because you're only able to run one operating system at the same time. However, there's actually a tool out there that enables you to run a whole bunch of different operating systems on one SD card. We'll explore this tool named BerryBoot on this episode of Cyber Weapons Lab. BerryBoot allows you to download and boot multiple operating systems on a larger micro SD card, enabling anyone to load all kinds of things they might not usually have the opportunity to run. This means Arch Linux, the damn vulnerable Raspberry Pi, Kali Linux, and Raspbian are all within the scope of what you might want to do, and you don't need to have a separate device or a separate SD card just to try them out. Now, this is possible because when you boot the Raspberry Pi, it will simply ask you which operating system you want to boot from, allowing you to just go right in and use the Raspberry Pi for that function. After you're done, you can just restart it and select a different operating system to change the function of the device, making this a really cool way of having a whole bunch of libraries all in one SD card. Now, there's also the option of putting everything that you want to boot into onto a USB thumb drive, which typically isn't something you can do from the Raspberry Pi, but you can select this later on if you want to be able to boot from some other external device. Now, keep in mind, if you remove this, you won't be able to boot your Pi, so make sure that you have that in mind before you do this, because often it's simpler to just boot from the micro SD card inside the Pi. Now, in order to do this, you'll just need a Raspberry Pi, a larger micro SD card, 32 gigabytes, 64 or more, and some sort of way of connecting it to your computer. Once you have that done, you'll need a way of interfacing with the Pi once you have everything loaded up. So make sure you have a TV or some other thing you can plug the HDMI plug cable into, and also make sure you have some sort of keyboard like this so you can interface with it as well. I recommend this because it's wireless. You can just plug this little dongle in and then communicate with the Raspberry Pi without having to have a clunky big keyboard and mouse separately. So when you have all that taken care of, you can begin. To get the most out of your Raspberry Pi using BerryBoot, you'll need to download two different components. Now, the first is BerryBoot itself, and I like to think of this kind of like BIOS for a computer. BerryBoot is able to load at the beginning and kind of decide on a bunch of different things, including being able to boot from an image that is at first put on a USB thumb drive. Now, this is useful because when you boot BerryBoot, it loads to a screen that allows you to download a couple images, but it doesn't include the full available library of stuff that's out there that you can put onto the Raspberry Pi. Instead, we can download some images that we're interested in from a separate website and load them onto the USB thumb drive that we will use to install. I think in this case we'll use Parrot Security OS because that was popular in one of our other videos. So here you can see the links to download BerryBoot, and it's not a very big file. You can see it's between 39 and 60 megabytes, and you'll need to select the version that is appropriate for your particular Raspberry Pi. You can see there's the Raspberry Pi dual core and then the original Raspberry Pi. So we've already downloaded the BerryBoot here, and you'll notice it is a zip file. So what you'll need to do is take a micro SD card, insert it into an adapter, or you'll need an adapter or something like that, plug it into your computer, and then when you have it open, go ahead and drop the BerryBoot.zip file into it, and then unzip it in there. Once you do that, it's actually ready to go. You can go ahead and eject it, and you can also delete the zip file if you don't need it anymore, but that's all you really need in order for this to be able to work. So it's relatively small. It'll be on the SD card. You can eject that, and then what we'll do is go to berryboot.alexgoldscheit.com, and you'll see that he maintains this really cool repository of different images for the Raspberry Pi. So let's take a look at download OS images. So here you can see there's a bunch of really cool different images that are available. And you can kind of search for whatever you want, but we're going to look for Parrot Security. And here we go. So we can click on download for BerryBoot, and you can see we've actually already done that. And for good measure, we also downloaded Arch. So we won't be installing Arch today, we'll just stick to Parrot security, but we will go ahead and first unzip and then drag and drop the image into the USB drive. Now don't worry about, we're not flashing it or anything fancy, we're just taking the image file and dropping it into the USB drive so that we can use it later on to load onto the Raspberry Pi. So here's our Parrot security image, and we would just drop it onto our USB drive here. Now, I will run out of space because it's already on this drive, but assuming that you drag and drop yours into your USB drive, you can go ahead and eject it, and now you should have one ejected USB drive and one ejected micro SD card. Now you'll need to plug the SD card into your Raspberry Pi, plug in the USB as well, and we'll hop on over to see what it looks like when we boot up into BerryBoot. So here we're going to go ahead and boot up, and this is a little bit different from what you will see the first time. When you do boot the first time, I don't want to waste your time with having you go through the default settings because there are a couple initial configuration options that are pretty much just straightforward. You go through them and select the default options, and at the end you'll see a menu that will allow you to download a couple different operating systems. Now the operating systems aren't that exciting, although they do include Kali Linux, but they don't include some of the more exotic ones that you might be interested in. Now you'll need to be able to connect to Wi-Fi in order to download those, but in this case I'm going to show you a different technique of doing so, which will be relevant because we already download Parrot Security OS and will want to install it via a USB thumb drive. Now if you hover over the Add OS and then hold down on the button, you'll see that there's an additional option you can select, which is Copy OS from USB Stick. Now, that is more interesting than the Download OS because it's basically unlimited in terms of what we can load up on here. Now, here we see our USB thumb drive, and there's Parrot Security OS, so we can select Open. And this will copy to our BerryBoot menu, and we'll be able to boot into this particular operating system, which is pretty cool. Now, as you saw, there were a whole bunch of different options available for us to download from Berry server, so we can get pretty creative with the different operating systems we put on our Raspberry Pi. Now, because I already have this downloaded, I'll go ahead and cancel this, but let's boot up into something a little bit more exciting than Kali Linux. So you can see it downloaded Kali Lite to keep the file size small, so there will be a lot of tools you'll need to install anyway, but let's go ahead and go into Parrot Security and see what it looks like on the Raspberry Pi. So here we can see there are no real preferences we need to set, so with that all done, we can go ahead and exit, and then simply select Parrot Security from the menu when it restarts. Now, as soon as we boot up again, we'll need to go ahead and select Parrot Security OS right here. And we should just go ahead and boot right into Parrot Security. Now, the default password should be tour. And as soon as this boots, we should have access to all the fun stuff that Parrot Security has to offer. Now, Parrot Security on the Raspberry Pi is pretty fun to play with, so if you haven't played with it before, then BerryBoot might be your first chance to get to play with this very fun and interesting operating system. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and just to show what we can do, let's see, I'm going to open a terminal window, and reboot into Kali Linux. Here we go, we'll select Kali Lite, and now we'll go ahead and boot right into Kali, and it should be as easy as that to switch between different operating systems from now on. And there we go. Kali Linux asks us for a username and password, which should be the default root and tour. And once we enter that, we should be booted into a Kali Linux desktop on the Raspberry Pi. So you can see that this is pretty simple to try out a bunch of different operating systems, and the general procedure is, if you want to try out an exotic new operating system, simply find an image file, load it into BerryBoot, and then you'll be able to select it from the menu as soon as you start. This is pretty straightforward, and again, there are a couple default ones you can download if you don't have access to a USB thumb drive or if you only have access to the internet, but Kali Linux is really the only one that's especially interesting besides Raspbian. The rest are kind of more centered around entertainment, like if you wanted to create a, like a video server or something like that. Now you can use your Raspberry Pi for pretty much anything you can find an image file for at this point. So whether it's hardware hacking and creating prototypes, or it's actual hacking and trying out new tools in Arch, Kali, Raspbian, Parrot, or whatever you want, go ahead and try out different image files and see what they can do on the Raspberry Pi. BerryBoot means you don't need to settle on a particular operating system for your Raspberry Pi. Instead, you can download and carry around a whole bunch of different operating systems on a single micro SD card without needing to bring along a whole different library of them. Now this is really useful because you can also take advantage of many of the interesting, if somewhat niche, operating systems available for the Raspberry Pi. You might not otherwise get the chance to do so because you'll have to reflash the SD card each time you do it, and in this way you'll be able to download them and try them out whenever you want. That's all we have for this episode of Cyberweapons Lab. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts or feedback on the show, send me a message on Twitter because I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you next time.